Some of your favorite cartoon characters will help you understand how drugs and alcohol can ruin your life.
The early 90s were a time of cultural in-between. The optimism of the 80s was starting to fade thanks to a really wobbly economy, the Gulf War, and a growing wave of anti-establishment that spread across college campuses and early internet forums. But it was also extreme. That's right, you mom and dad. The 90s were all about teen angst, flannel, and telling the world to eat our shorts. And perhaps nowhere was the shift more obvious than in the corporations. Toy corporations. At the time, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were huge, and every toy company wanted their own version. Heroes couldn't just fight crime or teach teamwork. They had to be gnarly, but also dark and brooding. And they'd have cool names like Throttle, Ripster, and I don't know, Grinder or something. And this led to a flood of team shows featuring mutant sharks, space rabbits, and cat pilots. Alright, so I'm going to try to break this down the best I can. These are the shows that I think best represented the time period. There are many other examples, but these are the ones that stuck with me the most, and I think also had the best toys. First up, Biker Mice from Mars. Space, sick. Bikes, awesome. Mice, pretty tame by itself, but awesome when combined with the first two. This show concerned 3 alien mice that escape a war on Mars and end up in Chicago. They eat hot dogs, ride motorcycles, and it seems kind of like they can only speak in catchphrases. Somehow this is still less annoying than your average Chicagoan. I don't have anything against the people from Chicago. I just hate when you try to pretend like Malort actually tastes good. All right, next, Street Sharks. This one feels kind of like the toy companies cheated a bit, because obviously sharks are cool, and the only way to make them cooler is if you're a shark who can punch stuff. Street Sharks were 4 teenagers that were turned into shark people. They yelled out stuff like "Jawsome," and they could go underground, which is actually, that was a really good one. That looks cool. Mighty Max is next. A teenager that finds a magic baseball cap, and it lets him jump into different worlds with different types of monsters. It's based on a toy line that was the boy version of Polly Pockets. Very extreme, very 90s. Max wore his hat backwards, so obviously he had an attitude and didn't care what anybody said. Bucky O'Hare and the Toad Wars. This show was animal aliens fighting fascist amphibians. It didn't really last that long at all. Had some cool toys though. And I was going to include SWAT cats, but I didn't really watch this one. So why were the shows like this? Well, you kind of have to understand the moment in time. The sleek heroes and the family values of the 80s were over, and the 90s was more about being jaded and nonconformist. Cartoon creators along with toy makers saw this and wanted to bottle it into a product, but didn't really understand why it existed in the first place. What we got was kind of a corporate fever dream. Everything had to growl and skate and mutate, and ironically, even though they were just trying to move plastic, the shows themselves were about, distrusting police, protecting the environment, fighting corrupt overlords. By the mid to late 90s, these superhero trends started to fade, and they were replaced with shows like Dexter's Lab and SpongeBob SquarePants that were just kind of loud and obnoxious. But in the recent years, something strange has happened. Boutique toy companies have started reissuing figures from Street Sharks, Biker Mice from Mars, and even Toxic Crusaders. What was once cheap throwaway plastic has become designer nostalgia. And in a way, I guess that makes it a perfect corporate circle.